Hello, welcome to The State. We are grateful you could join us. The show is brought to you by Christian Service University located in Kumasi in the Ashanti region. My name is 𝐖𝐓𝐕 𝐊𝐚𝐬𝐿. Please stay for the details.
The Christian Service University, a fully chartered private university in Ghana, is inviting applications for admission. Undergraduate programs include BSc Nursing and Midwifery, Computer Science, Information Technology, Bachelor of Business Administration, BA Communication Studies, Planning and Social Development, and Theology with Administration. Postgraduate programs include MSc in Accounting and Finance, Monitoring and Evaluation, Corporate Planning and Governance. We have MA MPhil Communication Studies, MA Christian Ministry with Management, Event Management, MPhil English and Mathematics Education. With quality, faculty and state-of-the-art facilities, we blend academic work with entrepreneurial mindset in all our programs. For more information, please call 0246 275375, 0240 154825, or 0244 596603, or visit our website www.csuc.edu.gh. CSU is located at Odenaho Kwadaso on the Kumasi-Obuasi Road, 100 meters off Star Junction. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa.
And to make him better known. That's
Sorry, not sure.
Wake up to a purposeful day.
Get ready for a transformational morning experience.
Sorina Shrine is here to build our spirituality, mental and physical well-being.
Through positive, inspiring actions and stories.
We bring you exciting activities and conversations that develop us as a people and as a nation.
We take a look at the trending issues in Ghana and the rest of the world.
And we also review the impacting stories from our local newspapers.
Every morning, we bring you stories of hope, change, and renewal.
We empower you through the Word of God and provoke you to live the purposeful life destined for you.
Join us, Anita Kwako,
and the Reverend 𝐼𝐓𝐕 𝐊𝐴𝐚, Monday to Friday from 5:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. as we take you on an inspiring journey, live and exclusively on WTV.
You may also join us on Facebook at WTV Ghana and on YouTube at Wesleyan TV Ghana.
Sorry, not Shrine.
Wake up to a purposeful day.
Sorina Shrine is brought to you by
Danwell Insurance, Multi-Credit Savings and Loans,
and the Methodist University Ghana.
Welcome back. Let us settle for W Briefs. On W Briefs, what we do is to give you an executive summary of the topic for discussion for the day. What is the whole conversation going to center on? We give you a sneak shot of it, then you get to follow the discussion. So HIV and AIDS remain a critical public health issue in Ghana. Recent data indicates an alarming, in fact, troubling rate of the prevalence of HIV in the country. Government of Ghana, over the years, through Ghana AIDS Commission and of course its partners, have made the strongest of efforts to get solution, or should I say interventions, towards a strong response to the HIV and AIDS pandemic in the country. The National HIV and AIDS Control Program at the Ghana Health Service this week have revealed a staggering revelation on the prevalence rate. The report says that 34,000 new infections. These new infections were recorded between January and September 2024. The first 4 quarters of this year, we have recorded 34,000 new cases. Around 1.3 people were screened during this period. These new infections, 1.3 million people who were screened, we realized or got the 34,000 from this group that were screened. Sexually active people, we are told, are not taking the proactive measures to protect themselves against the infection and other sexually transmitted diseases. Those in the bracket of sexual activity are not doing that, and this can transmit the disease to the numbers that we are recording, and then we are looking at. The issue that we are considering really is that of all the alarming situation, the increases that we have recorded present a staggering challenge to the nation, because Ghana has set itself to eradicate, or as it were, end AIDS by 2030. The big issue that we are considering this afternoon on the show is that in the wake of these increases in the infections of HIV and AIDS, what is the response of Ghana towards fighting HIV or ending the pandemic as it has been set by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 2030? Can we end AIDS in Ghana by 2030? We'll delve into the issues. I'll take a quick break and I'll be back for the discussion to begin. Stay. Welcome back from the break, and we are glad you could join us on the stage this afternoon. This afternoon, we are looking at a very critical issue of public health concern to all of us as a people or as a nation. We are looking at the Ghana's response towards the fight against HIV and AIDS. We reported that the Ghana AIDS Control Program is reporting that there have been increase in the number of infections, new infections. We recorded 34,000 new infections out of the 1.3 million people who were screened and tested. This number presents a challenge to Ghana towards the attainment of the UN's Sustainable Development Goal. This afternoon, we are assessing the successes of the response of Ghana so far, its prevailing challenges, and by the end of the discussion, we should have the way forward to making sure that we nip this pandemic in the bud. The show is brought to us by Christian Service University, located in Kumasi in the Ashanti region. It is an evangelical liberal arts institution established 50 years ago to train men and women with ethical values for transformational leadership in Africa. Academic admissions for 2024-25 year is in progress for undergraduate and postgraduate programs. CSU offers dynamic academic and industry-driven programs in nursing, midwifery, business administration, communication, planning, and computer science. For more information, please contact our admission relations officers on 02462 75375, 0240154 0244-596603, or visit our website on www.edu.csu.ghana Choose CSU today to ensure the future of Africa. CSU, the university of choice. So the conversation is just beginning, and we are privileged to have online to help us appreciate the statistics and help us appreciate the response that we have put up as a people or as a nation so far by the Director for Technical Services at the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Fred Nanapoku. Dr. Fred Nanapoku is just the right person to help us appreciate the numbers and the response so far. Doc, good afternoon. Welcome to the state. Doc, if you can hear me, yes, turn on your camera and please check if you've not muted yourself, because the people of Ghana are really ready to delve into the issues that we are discussing after. Dr. Fred Nanapoku, can you hear me? Hello, Doc. Hello, Doc. So whilst we work the line for Doc to join us, once upon a time, maybe you might have thought that we were done with the pandemic. It's a thing of the past, but it is not. The statistics, as we are presenting, is staggering. It is telling us, and surprisingly, I wouldn't say surprisingly, but worrying to some of us, is that the prevalence is really among the young people. That age bracket, they are actively involved in sexual activity without any recourse to protection whatsoever. You wouldn't know where your Sunday school children, your children, your friends' children are spending most of their leisure. So it is a cause for concern. We should be concerned and be worried as a people, and we should still fight against the HIV/AIDS. And then those who have been positive, we need to make sure that they stay on treatment, just to make sure that we end the transmission of this deadly disease. So it is not out of the woods yet. We are still, and staggering again is that Greater Accra, Ashanti region, and Western region keep recording the higher incidence of the infections. What could really be going on there? What could we do possibly to get them to stay protected, protect their health? What could we do to get them to stop the spread? It's one young man who almost lost it because of the stigma when he tested and he was told that he had contracted the virus. You can imagine the enormity of the psychological weight that it came on him until he was cancelled. So counseling works. He was cancelled and he is on medication now. He's doing well. He's even in the university. And what elates me is the fact that it's not spreading. So we'll delve into the details after this break. Please don't go away.
Praise God, praise God. Christ in tea, you respond, yeah, addition. I'm excited to announce to you, friends in the Lord, are you seeking for a platform where you can pray? Open baby up a soul bomb pie. Now ninyami edi inkita home. Bibi chiro so. And I'm na the same kum. And you come home. Let's go into the prayer room on WTV every Friday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. to meet seasoned ministers of God that God has raised to impact your life. Remember, John Wesley said, I have too much to do, therefore I spend several hours in prayer in able to do it. That is why we are calling upon you. Meet myself, Reverend Hosea Osei, and the Evangelism Missionary Renewal Directorate as we lead you into the prayer room where we encounter Christ. And I believe your life will never be the same. Call your friends, your loved ones, every Friday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. where we will encounter Christ. God bless you. See you on our screens on WTV every Friday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. God bless you.
nyansa etsua ne mpanina no anaye gye ne mpanina no ti baabi biara mpanifo ahyia na yesua ya dwene no ne open nyansa no oben wa ode agudie kyerɛ dwene mu agudie ene kofie panu sa adwene nsɛm mu odɔ nsɛmpɔrɔ nsɛm a yetie bɔbra ekoyie frase efifirito ne open nyansa no omenkwankwa enu ase ne mpani so ayadwene ne beye nhyira ama no ene ne nkyirima yada mo ase
ja impanyini nso ayadwene jemre na hweyen memninde ne memninde bia anopa no wotwe wo Wesleyan television so
Yɛn nkyerɛkyerɛ dwumadie soronko a Methodist yɛahyehyɛ ɛde ɛbrɛ mu. Yɛn nkyerɛkyerɛ so no yɛbɛsua adeɛ afa de anim ɛfa Nyankopɔn ho. Yesu Kristo honhom kronkron ɛne sɛne yɛtu yɛ gyidie mu anamo. Ɛbɛpɛnsɛmpɛnsɛ yɛ gyidie no fapɛ. Yɛn nkyerɛkyerɛ yɛbɛbisa, yɛbɛsua na yɛbɛhu. Ka yɛn ho na yɛnsua adeɛ ɛwɔ yɛn nkyerɛkyerɛ so. Yɛn nkyerɛkyerɛ yɛma gyidie no mu ada hɔ pefee.
Meye mi fie Christian fie mema mi kun aye Christian ni na me mofra aye Christian fo mema mi fie aye Christian fie ban papam eye dwumadi a ekoso ewo WTV so ekasa afa ekwaya ye tete ye mofra ekwanya yebefa so ama yaware ayefe ne yaware edimu efie entetiye anase fie siesie ene efie nkomodie mu nso yenya entonchen entume to sa frɛw sɛ hwɛ WTV na niema pa bebre ewo WTV so enwumpa enkomodie papa eniema pa ebeboa me no mienu ene yemfie kɔso ara na hwɛ WTV.
Welcome back. You're still on the state, and this afternoon we are looking at Ghana's response towards HIV/AIDS, and we are assessing the successes so far, prevailing challenges, and then the way forward. We are coming on the back of the report that there's been a troubling increase of new cases of HIV prevalence in the country. 34,000. It calls for alarm. And then we are joined on the line by the Director for Technical Services at the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Fred Nanapoku. Doc, good afternoon and welcome to the state.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having me here.
Wonderful. We are glad that you are going to help us appreciate the report and then also the way forward, because it is a matter of concern. So, Doc, first off, let me ask you, this staggering revelation of the 34,000 new infections. Where you sit, does it come to you as a surprise comparatively with the infections over the period?
Yes, sir. Yes, the 34,000 that was announced by the National AIDS Control Program, it's a programmatic data, which I'm not too sure whether we've been able to completely verify, because usually at the end of the year, they have a meeting to look at the data that had been gathered, and then this is refined or made quality assured, and then it is used into the UNAIDS model that is then churned out to be the estimates for the year. And what we have as of 2023, the end of 2023, was about 17,774 people who had contracted or gotten infected with HIV.
Okay,
new
Doc.
cases.
Okay, Doc.
So
Just
34,000 is quite high.
okay, Doc. So I was just coming to that because the figures you just mentioned, doing 17,000 and we having 34,000. But you mentioned earlier on that it's a programmatic data. How do you mean by that?
Yes. Why? This is what had been gathered from the various facilities as people come in and test and go. So sometimes we have double counting. Somebody comes in and is tested and then he goes to another facility because he's not sure of it. And so there are other issues that can come alongside. But however, globally, we use the UNAIDS model and technique in estimating the total numbers. So that considers other factors such as the demography, the population size, and then we also use other surveys, like the antenatal survey reports are used. Together, they are put in a model and then it is refined, if I should use the word crudely, so that we get the actual figures. So as I said, for last year, it had been 17,774. And for the past years, it had been between, 20,000 that way. So 34,000 as being the programmatic data. It's a little alarming, and but though it is yet to be confirmed, as I said, or put all together, because that is what was said to have been recorded in the facilities as at September or so, not the end of year. So we still have some years to go, some months to go. So we'll wait till the final figures are channeled. But whatever it is, it's a high number. Even if it's still the 17,774, it's still very high. Even one single new infection should not be countenanced. We really want Ghana to be a country where new infections approach zero, as well as AIDS-related deaths approach zero, so that we can have what we call epidemic control, where the new infections are even less than the deaths. So it is still alarming, whatever figure it is, looking at what has occurred over the past few years. We're still not comfortable at all. And even this one even sends more shivers into our spine.
Rightly so. But Doc, I will delve into the data itself and find out the causative factors and then the way forward. But some people are more or less thinking that is still lurking around. Is it a forgotten disease? Is it that we don't really care about it again? We are not thinking about it. Maybe COVID came and is a new kid on the block.
Partly so. And I must say that we know it is still around and we are concerned. But the general population, I mean, people in the population have some attitudes of it not being prevalent, but that is not the case. People are losing guard, and infection is still lurking and increasing even among the youth. And that is a very sad situation. We are tempted to think that we are victims of some of the successes that we have globally and even as a nation because of the advent of antiretroviral therapy. We are not seeing so many AIDS cases, and we are not showing the effect on people, personal effects on people, growing very lean, cachectic, and dying because the drugs are available and it's free, and people are able to access it at least we have more than 750 facilities or centers where you can access these drugs. So we are not seeing the more of the initial stages where we have those cachectic, lean, dying pictures of people. So that scare is no more. And as you rightly said, other pandemics came in, which has been more scary because their fatality rate or death associated with it is immediate, like COVID that came in 2019 and a few years back, and currently monkeypox and things like that in some parts of Africa and the world. So yes, we have to really awaken the awareness and the prevention. That people should be awakened to the fact that AIDS, HIV is still a disease, and it's a lifestyle disease.
And it's real.
Associated with how, yes, how we live our lives. And people are dying of it, as I said, but not as much as it used to be.
So, Doc, let me ask you.
Last year.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to ask you that the modes of transmission, has it changed, or is it still the same mode of transmission? What is the mode of transmission currently?
Young man, the mode of transmission is still the same in Ghana and in most part of Africa. 80% of infections that arise from HIV is through sexual contact, whatever kind of sex that it is, whether between a man and a man or a man and a woman, what we call penovaginal or penoanus sex, and it causes HIV. 10% of the cases are due that. Then, and these sexes are done unprotected. And then we have mother-to-child transmission also contributing quite significant numbers to the new infections that we have in. A positive mother who transmits the virus to the unborn child or the newborn baby, which is no fault of the person or the baby. It's very sad. So you come into this world with HIV, and then you have to take medication right from the first day you are born till whatever. As of now, no cure is found. So this is very worrisome. And meanwhile, there are modalities and structures that are in place that can curb mother-to-child transmission of HIV. But yet still, we're having a lot of cases occurring in Ghana. And that is also not too good. We have direct transmission when you are exchanging needles. People who use drugs and they exchange needles. They inoculate each other with the needles, and then if one has HIV and they exchange the needles, then the transmission goes to the other person. Use of sharps, right? Blades and all that inadvertently also transmits HIV. Yes. So these are established modes of transmission of HIV globally and in Ghana as it is.
Doc, what's so worrying is the should I say the bracket, the demographics of the people who pick up these infections. You realize that most of them are the young people. We know that our campuses, our colleges, and where they are sexually active, that is where we record the numbers there. What are some of the risky behaviors they are involved in that makes them prone to infections?
Yes. Most of it is, as I said, for that age bracket, is through sex, unprotected sex, multiple concurrent partners. A young lady, a young man have about 3, 4, 5 partners. That increases the risk of picking up an HIV infection from somewhere, right? And then these hookups you don't know the person. In fact, when you look at the current demographic survey that was released, we realized that more people, young people and adults between the ages of 15 to 45 are having sex with people they don't even know. They are not non-cohabiting or being their spouses or their any relation. And that is worrying. It has increased. Meanwhile, while this is increasing, I think the survey revealed that about 35% of men in that bracket had that within the past year of the survey, and about 21 or so of the females as well. So this is increasing. And then they are not easy. Meanwhile, the protective mechanisms of use of condoms and other issues is also not being practiced. Rather, whilst risky sex is increasing, condom use is rather decreasing, which is very bad. But I mean, the tenets of HIV prevention, right? The ABC is really, when you look at it critically, it's rooted in Christian principles or whatever you call it. Abstinence, right? If you are able to abstain, then that 80% of new infections that arise from sexual encounters, and you are a young person, you are not married, and you are not in any untoward relation, the risk of you getting the infection is minimal. Then we come to being faithful to one uninfected partner, which is also, I believe, is part of the principles of religion. Also, make sure that you don't really come across somebody who has it because you are sticking to one person who is uninfected and you are also not infected, and that is fine. And the C, ABC, the C, which has been preached all along and is what is being continued, is the use of condoms correctly and consistently. You don't use, it's a protective device. As COVID came in, we were wearing face masks to protect ourselves from catching the virus. And so when you also having sex, you can use condoms correctly and consistently. And that will also prevent the exchange of body fluids, the semen and blood that will transmit the infection as it is. And this is a very proven, empirical, very protective device. It might seem as simple and straightforward as it, but it does protect from HIV and other sexually transmitted infections, even including pregnancy as it is. So it is very important that we go back to these principles. And currently, with the innovations and whatnot that we have now, we have D, A, B, C, and D, which is the use of drugs, medications. Some of the ARVs are used as pre-exposure prophylaxis or post-exposure prophylaxis, where we mean that before you go into, for example, a mosquito-infested area, you take some medication to prevent you from catching malaria. Or even pregnant women take this tiraprim and doxycycline and things like that once weekly to prevent them from catching malaria. And similarly to HIV, we have this pre-exposure prophylaxis where if you are daring and you're going to have a risky behavior, you can have some of these drugs to protect you from getting infected. And the post is after you have had a risky encounter, which you don't know the status of the person and you know it's a risky. You go to facilities where you're assessed, and then you can also have this medicine within 72 hours of such exposure, and you do not have the infection afterwards. So these are basic, but something we just, I don't know, neglect it. We are not in the demographic survey, it shows that for example, quite a number of young people understand. I think it's in the ranges of 75 and almost 80, understand that when we use condoms, you can protect yourself from HIV, or they know, they've heard that, but they are not translating that into real action.
Into real action.
Because the same, yes, real action. The same demographic survey shows that for the adults between the ages of 15 to 45 who have had sex with a non-cohabiting partner, only it's less than, what is it? 20, 30, 45 or 35 ever used condoms in the last encounter.
And that
so
is that is
the
worrying.
knowledge is not being slated into action. Which is very alarming.
We're getting the knowledge, but we are not putting it into practice. This is still the state, and this afternoon we are having a conversation on Ghana's response to the HIV pandemic. And we are joined on the line by Dr. Fred Nanapoku. He's Director for Technical Service at Ghana AIDS Commission. And he's really giving us insights. He's telling us that HIV is still real. It is still around. And he mentioned staggeringly that the recent risky behavior of most of the young people who happen to be affected by HIV is the hookup. This hookup thing, we really need to look at it, where people are getting involved physically, intimately, sexually with people they don't have relationship with, no commitment, just emotional satisfaction, and it's going all around. And it's saying that this is also largely contributing to the increase in infections that we are having. It's getting interesting, and I hope you staying glued to the discussion. Doc, you mentioned, let me ask you, you mentioned the pre-exposure prophylaxis and the post-exposure prophylaxis. We know that it's one of the interventions government has introduced. Again, government, I think in 2019, introduced this screening and then testing and treatment and policy. All these policies and interventions have been implemented. How effective have they been? What have been the results? Has it resulted in decreasing the rate of infection?
We have seen over a period of time, over a period of 10 years, we have seen about the region of 20-25% decrease in new infections. But when you compare last year's to this year, there had been a slight increase. So the year on year for last year and this year, there had been a slight increase. But over a period of time, we've seen some amount of decrease in new infection, as well as the number of people who died of HIV. But the decrease is not what we want. It's so slow. It's so slow. Some countries have really decreased their new infections and they are marching towards epidemic control. We can talk about countries like Ivory Coast, which are our neighbors. We can talk about Eswatini and things like that. They have reached their 95 global targets. And they are gradually getting towards epidemic control, but we are lagging behind. So with the little success, we don't need to rest on our oars. We need to really work harder and harder and harder. We need to stimulate ourselves and put ourselves into full gear of prevention. And yes, and even those who have it, they should be treated, because treatment is a form of prevention. Because if you take your medication, you are positive, you are seen, identified early, the case detection is done quickly, and you are put on medication immediately, and you will reach a state of viral suppression. Where the viruses in you are suppressed, they are dormant, they are inactive, and you are unable to transmit the virus sexually if you have sex.
Thank you, Doc. Hang in there for me. We'll be right back and we'll look at the way forward. We'll just take a quick break, and when we are back, we'll look at the way forward. Stay with.
The Christian Service University, a fully chartered private university in Ghana, is inviting applications for admission. Undergraduate programs include BSc Nursing and Midwifery, Computer Science, Information Technology, Bachelor of Business Administration, BA Communication Studies, Planning and Social Development, and Theology with Administration. Postgraduate programs include MSc in Accounting and Finance, Monitoring and Evaluation, Corporate Planning and Governance. We have MA MPhil Communication Studies, MA Christian Ministry with Management, Event Management, MPhil English and Mathematics Education. With quality, faculty and state-of-the-art facilities, we blend academic work with entrepreneurial mindset in all our programs. For more information, please call 0246 275375, 0240 154825, or 0244 596603, or visit our website www.csuc.edu.gh. CSU is located at Odenaho Kwadaso on the Kumasi-Obuasi Road, 100 meters off Star Junction. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa.
And to make him better known.
This is the new Wesley Towers. It is a state-of-the-art office space located in the Ambassadorial Enclave, Accra. The property comes with a main entrance foyer with a classic central chandelier lighting. Our 13-passenger elevator with an air diffuser and a display screen for all your adverts will surely take you to the auditorium. At the Wesley Towers is a 500-seater auditorium for all your events. It's fully soundproof with a centralized air conditioning system. Our line of speakers, MCR, LED screens, and LED stage lights are fully in place. After an eventful day in our auditorium, you are sure to feel refreshed in the spacious 200-seater capacity roof terrace with a pergola in place. With 100 available car parking space, this new edifice is safe and secured with our security systems in place. Over 100 camera points and car parking control system. We have washrooms, restaurant, and an on-site clinic. Book our conference rooms for your corporate meetings whilst admiring the water fountain synchronizing with colorful lighting and music. Wesley Towers is designed to make you feel safe, offering you the needed luxurious space. It comes with affordable pricing package. Please contact for details and inspection. 0503 109 978 or 0500 166 304 or 0556 302 880 0243 614 423. Wesley Towers, offering you a safe, secured, luxurious space. This is the new Wesley Towers. It is a state-of-the-art office space located in the Ambassadorial Enclave, Accra. The property comes with a main entrance foyer with a classic central chandelier lighting. Our 13-passenger elevator with an air diffuser and a display screen for all your adverts will surely take you to the auditorium. at the Wesley Towers is a 500-seater auditorium for all your events. It's fully soundproof with a centralized air conditioning system. Our line of speakers, MCR, LED screens, and LED stage lights are fully in place. After an eventful day in our auditorium, you are sure to feel refreshed in the spacious 200-seater capacity roof terrace with a pergola in place. With 100 available car parking space, this new edifice is safe and secured with our security systems in place. Over 100 camera points and car parking control system. We have washrooms, restaurant, and an on-site clinic. Book our conference rooms for your corporate meetings whilst admiring the water fountain synchronizing with colorful lighting and music. Wesley Towers is designed to make you feel safe, offering you the needed luxurious space. It comes with affordable pricing package. Please contact for details and inspection. 0503 109 978 or 0500 166 304 or 0556 302 880 0243 614 423. Wesley Towers, offering you a safe, secured, luxurious space.
Welcome back. This is The State, and on this show, we probe the issues and dig these solutions. This afternoon, the conversation is around Ghana's response to the HIV pandemic, and we've had on the line helping us to appreciate the real situation on the ground, the Director for Technical Service of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Nana Puku Fred, or Dana, yes, Dr. Nana Puku. Before we went on the break, he was telling us what the real issues are on the ground. So, Doc, welcome back from the break.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Yeah.
So we'll continue with the discussion. I am tempted to ask that, yes, before we left, we looked at government interventions and how it is helped in a way to help. Though we have not reached the target where we want to get to. What have been the challenges with the fight against this dreaded disease?
Thank you so much. The fight and the challenges that we face has been multifaceted, and it's not a single area. Primarily, we can talk about the funding challenges that we face, because as you are aware, money is the wheel that we can use to achieve so many things, but it is not the primary, like the only source of support or source that can help us. But we having some challenges with funds. Donor funding has gone down. Government subventions or interventions seems to be increasing, but we don't have it in the areas where we really want to have it.
Doc, this is a surprise.
Sure, and we keep
Doc, this is a surprise to hear, because your outfit falls right directly under the presidency. So why are you struggling with funds?
If the funds are not there,
the presidency cannot give.
We don't get all that we really ask for, not even our half or something. But so you can see that the campaign on knowledge sharing has gone down over the years, which we're trying to see. We have established an HIV and AIDS fund, trying to see whether we can mobilize some local resources to help in the management of HIV in the country. So that is ongoing, and we've done sustainability plans and all that needed analysis about getting the funds and how many infections will be averted are all been calculated, and we have it. So we need to get the funds, and we are looking at partnering with media and everybody to raise the funds to support the response. So that is ongoing. And then we have the challenges that is with the people themselves. People, as you said, it's like because we have not really, we didn't see the brunt of the HIV condition infections where it was killing people and all that. We tend to think that is no longer a pandemic, and because the pathogenesis on how the disease itself evolves takes a bit of time if you don't even take drugs, and it's not as visible as maybe, let's say, pregnancy. Or any other, pregnancy is not a disease anyway, or any other disease that can quickly put you down and kill you, like COVID. We are not so scared, and because of the drugs. So we need to change our attitudes about the condition and know that it's still present, and you can get HIV infection from people by sexual contact or exchange of body fluids. Stigma and discrimination is also a big challenge, which is also about the attitude and conditions of people. We need to address it. People have HIV and they are stigmatized such that they don't even go for their medications, or they have to go to other centers, travel long distances. So if the person doesn't have the funds to go, then he stays. And then he doesn't protect himself and have sex. We've talked about the risky behaviors that is on the rise and all that. So the individual also plays a role. Those who don't know, yes, and those who know but refusing to wear, for example, the face masks. You know that we said wear face masks and it will help you. Some people were blatantly refusing and not doing that. And going to, is the same applies to, it's a public health condition. Applies to HIV. You know that wearing condoms helps, or abstain, or be faithful. And if you can't wear condoms, people just refuse to use it. And it's a problem. And these are personal things occurs in closed doors, and you can't go there to arrest. Like how you can go and arrest somebody who is not on face masks in town and all that. So there's different dynamics
to the whole
HIV.
Great, Doc. That brings me to ask you that is a mandatory testing an option that Ghana Health Service can look at?
In medicine, we can't do that. It's just a few conditions that we do mandatory testing for by a court order. Somebody and when you have you have raped somebody, yes, you are convicted of rape, we can ask you to do that. Or when you are donating your organs for another person, then we can ask you to do that. Even blood donation, we screen. These are where we have mandatory testing, but it's a condition and it's a health way that it's not mandatory. Even pregnant women, we encourage them, and most of them accept, and they do test, but it is not a strictly black and white issue of being forced and mandatory testing, because it's your own health. And in the public health approach, we use that. There are some conditions which are contaminated and which are can be easily spread, and those ones we can quarantine you and all that. But HIV is not one of such conditions.
Great. Blood donation. Blood donation, is it one of the standard tests that is done to detect the disease or the virus? Doc? the doctor's line is giving us problem. We'll work the line and then get him back online because it is getting interesting. I was asking him if mandatory testing can be a way forward measure to look at, and he's mentioned that for you to make a test mandatory, you need court order, and HIV does not fall under. But in the situation where somebody is raped, court can ask the health facility to conduct that mandatory test, and there are certain conditions that, especially with court order, it can be the testing can be done, and HIV is not one of those conditions. Again, they all boil down to behavior, risky behavior that we get ourselves involved in, and lackadaisical attitude, like we don't really care about the disease, whether it is there or not. So it is in a way hampering progress, the success towards fighting against the HIV. And Ghana, we are all bound by this thing. We have gotten it. We have 2030 goal that we have set ourselves by the Sustainable Development Goal. Dr. Fred Nanapoku. Doc, can you hear me? Hello, Doctor. Doc, are you back online? We'll still talk about HIV. The line is giving us a challenge. So we've been looking at the response by Ghana so far on the back of the report that has been released by the AIDS control program of the Ghana Health Service, that 34,000 Doc really has said that it's a programmatic. They have to clean the data, and then we get it, the actuals that are on the ground. But even one is too high. We don't want to record. We want to get a zero pandemic situation of HIV. Doc is back on the line. Doc, you can hear me. You are welcome.
Thank you very much.
The line is trying to fail us, but we are really enjoying the conversation. So we need to be wrapping up. What measures do you think going forward, if we deploy? Of course, I was going to ask about leveraging technology. I was going to ask about our hospitals, and when they go for family planning, most of the counseling, because most of the things are centered on family planning. We tackle that. So, Doc. So let's look at the measures going forward. Before we look at the measures, let me just ask you these questions, you respond to them, and then maybe when ending, you tell us the measures that you think can be measured. So, Doc, I was asking that let's look at comprehensive education. What are we doing with comprehensive education on the disease?
Right. So I can see a gap there. There is a gap. That is the fact of the matter. There's a gap on comprehensive education. In schools, we used to have the SHEP program, school health education program, and we used to have health clubs. Apart from a few of such schools, we do not have it as vibrant as it was in the initial stages of the epidemic. And we are thinking of how best to revive these. Tied to these are the same funding challenges that some of the schools face, and we are also unable to support the schools with funds for that. And then also, in the same vein, it's about social contracting, where the government institute, the GAC, and is able to give some funding to civil society organizations to go into the communities to do HIV education and sensitization and awareness. That it's even quite very low currently, and we need to get funds, and we are hoping that the fund will be able to support us in doing all this. So it is an area that we need to, and we want the religious institutions to also help us. The voices can be heard a lot in their chapels. In fact, this Wellness Day that is we will be launched on 1st November. We will be having the actual Deba on 2nd December at the exhibition park. We have a few programs upcoming. We will be having religious services with the chapel. I think we're looking at one of the chapels, Maker's Chapel also. And then we also have a Muslim service as well. So the religious groups and religious organizations are key in this. They can help us fight stigma. Unfortunately, stigma that affects people and those who are positive are generated or emanate from places where they are supposed to be tolerant more, like the hospitals and churches, right? It's true that HIV is a lifestyle disease, but we also know that a few can get it through mother-to-child transmission, exchange of blood and other. It's not everything that is through sex, but even through sex, who are you to judge? And how many encounters do you have? A single encounter can even let you get HIV. So the stigma in the religious bodies can help us reduce stigma. That will help us also solve the problem
Solve
that
the
we
problem.
have, as well as even in the facilities. You go to a facility and a health worker sees somebody who is HIV positive, and the attitude changes. You sit here, you want, I mean, some very discouraging and harmful communication that goes on there is sometimes it's not, but it's improving, and we need to work harder and harder together as a nation to reach our target. Some nations have done it.
Yes, we
They
can.
are reducing new
Yeah.
infections is so low. They are reaching 95. So we can do it. We are just about 65, 69, 89.
We can do
Of the
95,
95.
95. We should get that.
Yes, we
that
can.
we
I don't know why. We can, but why are we not? Then we have some challenges with the health system itself. When it comes to PMTCT, we get the ladies and the women going to test, going to have counseling and all that. About 90%, 92% of pregnant women attend facilities. About 85% to 95% get the needed PMTCT services. But some of them are defaulting. They start and they drop out. Some of them don't take the medication as prescribed. Some of them, especially when they deliver the babies, to bring them for the testing and putting them on the right medication so that they don't establish HIV in their system, they fail to do that. So we realize that the babies are getting infected, irrespective of the fact that most of our women are able to enter the facilities and get some PMTCT services. But
Okay.
defaulting and they don't bring back the babies. And
Look,
sometimes our health facilities too, we don't have some of the logistics,
Yeah.
which we have to strengthen as a nation if we want to achieve the 95.
95.
And end HIV.
We are hoping we are hoping we get there. No, let me ask you. We live in a digital era. What is Ghana AIDS Commission? What is the AIDS Control Program? What is the role of our partners in leveraging technology and making sure that we attain this goal by 2030? How are we leveraging technology?
Yes, we are. We've started and we have plans and we are looking at it. Currently, we know that especially the young people, they are on their phones. So we develop digital posters and messages on HIV, and we share as much as we can. We're trying to even get some other platforms to do that. We have developed apps with key partners where you can go there and access the services you need. That directs you to get your needed services. We have done that with UNDP, that we develop an app together with the gender ministry too. We have that some apps. So it is ongoing in bits and pieces. We are currently looking at, we personally and with a few colleagues at the commission, we had looked at researching to find out what other countries are doing using of telemedicine in HIV, AI, and things like that. So we are gathering more information on that. So yes, it's a very important tool that is originating and is far advanced in some jurisdictions. Even the introduction of HIV self-test kits, we started using the apps for people to go there and then they just log in, identify themselves, and then they are sure where they can pick an HIV test kit. But I think we won't go on that. So we are using it as much as possible.
We need to leverage on it.
Utilizing it more.
Yes, extensively. Great. Doctor, I will ask you your final words. But before that, you held a candlelight procession. I was really wondering what you are lighting the candle in the darkness of HIV, or you are burying HIV. What was that about?
Thank you very much. So, yes, the candlelight procession was a launch of the World AIDS Day 2024. And the essence of World AIDS Day basically is to remember the lives that we have unfortunately lost due to the pandemic, and then resolve and awaken ourselves to fight harder to ensure that such deaths and incapacitation does not happen. And then we also want to ensure that we make HIV and AIDS out of Ghana and out globally. So the candlelight procession, first of all, was set to launch the 2024 World AIDS Day, where we go in and solidarize with our friends, our brothers, our sisters. We know some people who we lost, persons living with HIV, unfortunately. Some very young, some middle age. So we want to solidarize with them and their families, and say a word of prayer for them. And then also encourage ourselves that yes, ahead of us, the battle is still on.
It's still on.
The battle is still on. We have to ensure that we defeat HIV and kick it out of Ghana. So that was why.
That was why you had the candlelight procession.
And yes, and then to make sure that the youth, especially the youth, also are made aware of the existence of HIV and the need to protect oneself from acquiring the infection.
Okay, Doc. Finally, let me just ask you, because the candlelight was for us to more or less solidarize with the fallen brethren to HIV. Are you able to tell me in percentage terms how many people die of it in maybe last year, this year, percentage terms?
Yes. So last year, 2023, from January to December, it has been estimated that we had more than 12,400 people. I think it's 12,480 people dying from AIDS-related causes. 12,400.
And that is
for the past. Yes.
Yes, I was asking in percentage terms.
For the past few years, it had been ranging between 15,000. So there was some decrease in that amount. And over the years, we've seen some decrease. But yes, it has been ranging from about 15,000, 16,000 that way. Last year was about 12,000.
That's okay. Okay. Doc, your final words.
Yes, we want to appeal to everybody, every Ghanaian, the youth, the old people, to understand that HIV is still around. We need to together put our forces together to ensure that we curb new infection. We should resolve as a personally not to contract HIV by adapting safer sexual habits. We've talked about that already. And then we should also resolve that we can also, in a little small way, see how we can contribute in supporting the AIDS fund, the HIV and AIDS fund, so we have adequate resources to curb and prevent HIV in Ghana. Yes, we can. We can reach epidemic control. We can reach the 95, and we can end.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much, Doctor, for your time with us. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And yes, we can reach the Getting Zero pandemic. Thank you very much for being with us on the show. We have been looking at the response to HIV in the wake of the increasing numbers that we are recording with new infections. It's been promising. And remember that the first and most effective major tool to fighting HIV is prevention. Prevention is the thing. So let's keep talking about it. It is about time. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's get away with the stigma. Let's talk about HIV. I want to thank the crew that have been working on the behind the scenes so far. Adam, thank you very much, Adam. Emmanuel, Ashon, thank you, Eric, thank you, Felix, thank you, Anita, for making the show possible. We're moving into the weekend once again. It's Friday. Like I always say, drink a lot of water, drink enough water, stay hydrated, stay out of trouble. We are back on your screens on Monday. Happy weekend, stay safe. Goodbye. Neo to Accra signing off.